Okay, now I'm gonna give you a brief introduction and a summary of Captain Fantastic 2016 by Matt Ross. It's a family that chooses to not be a part of the Western civilization and everything else. They have the family consists of Ben and Leslie, mother and father, the 6 kids, and this hermit family almost lives outside nature, not in the house, and they live very like isolated. The mother is sick. She kills herself. The children want to save Leslie's last wish, which is to be cremated and be spread all over her favorite place on earth. We have a theme of independence, which is very clear throughout the movie. First of all, as I mentioned before, we have the children learning how to be independent, and also the family. It's really obvious the family is independent from the rest of the society, and especially the American society, as they are not enrolled in any schools. They're homeschooled, and the family is savage, is isolated from the rest of the society, and it's almost like a hermit family, as I said. And the children have to learn to fight, obviously. And dad, also the father, he tests his children a lot of times, as he says. He tests them in a certain way that the oldest boy has to, in order to become a man, he has to kill an animal, and the youngest have to climb a lot of mountains, and they do a lot of things that I want to say normal life, but it's not that we have a normal life, but most of the Western society would not have their children do, because it's outside the norms. It's a little different. Is there too much independence? Children, obviously, they want to satisfy the father, because they always go, Dad, am I right? This is right. Oh yeah. Likewise, the father has the same and also very high expectations for his children, and that's why he can make one of his children jump onto a roof and kidnap the son. It's a little crazy. Am I right? We get a feeling of the independence aspect coming into play in the beginning of the movie, where we hear nothing and see nothing but nature and leaves and trees and flowers and the sound of animals. Very idyllic. And likewise, we see that at the end of the movie, where they all sit together at a table, and we see that they found peace, because they found a middle ground between too much independence and a lack of independence. Now we have the relationship between the father and the children, and this is very remarkable because this also links to the overall theme of independence. We have one side. Well, this is where the father wants his children to be independent from American society and wants to teach them how to take care of themselves. And even after the mother dies, he still wants to do chores and work out. I wouldn't want to do that if my mother died. And so on the other side, we have, he does not like to be independent, because he doesn't want them to be independent from what he thinks is the ideal way of life. Because he obviously is Captain Fantastic of what he thinks, but maybe he's not that fantastic after all. And we see this as when Bottomman wants to go to college, and he gets upset that he's been gone behind his back and applied for colleges without his father knowing. I think we're dealing with a little craziness, perhaps. We also have a very honest dad. Well, he explained about sexual intercourse and says, quote, that a penis goes inside a woman's vagina. And the little child asks, why would he even want to do that? Another example of where the father is very honest is when it's about the mother's death. He does not sugarcoat it in any possible way. He just says straight out she killed herself, and how she did it, that she cut her wrists. So the message of the movie. And I personally believe that the author wants to make the recipient engage in the movie and engage in the critical aspect of the movie, as it criticizes society and makes the recipient ask, who is more crazy? Is it the ones living amongst everyone else in, let's say, Texas or Idaho, and that they all have norms and live a certain way, or at least in a certain box, or aren't too alternative. Whereas you may ask, is a father crazy for letting his children act the way they act and let them do all these dangerous things like climb on top of the roof and kidnap their sibling? So which society is the ideal? Or is there one that is ideal? Should you find a middle ground, or what do you actually want? And then he wants, I think the author or the producer, Matt Ross, wants us to engage and make the recipient be critical and to the given norms and the given society and culture. That could be in Denmark, that could be in America, that could be in China, anywhere. A primary impulse is that the father is crazy because he makes his child kill this animal and eat some of its, I don't know what it's, liver or some part or organ of the body, and that gives us a whoa effect, like, okay, this father is nuts. But is he really that nuts though? And this is due to narration, and we sympathize with him, like the intertextuality that there appears in the movie, where the daughter reads Lolita, which is about a man who likes to have sexual intercourse with younger women. It's frowned upon and against the law. But due to the narration and we get his insights and feelings and emotions, we sympathize with him. And this is the same as the father in the movie. Not that he's a rapist or that he's a pedophile, but we get another side of him and see what his mind is, why he acts and thinks the way he does. And that makes the reader or the viewer and recipient think the same way, and almost through the father we get another view on our culture and Western society, which is critical, and that is healthy, and that could be healthy to see. So the father is used in order to stay critical and look differently at the world and the anticipated reality. For instance, at the hospital, the son asks, "Dad, why is everyone sick?" And the father goes, "No, why?" And he goes, "Well, everyone is so fat." And that is, well, I think that we, in a world where everyone is obese, well, a lot of people is obese, and almost 1/3 is obese in America, we become a little bit immune and don't look at it that way because we're used to it. And then with this child coming in here, we see that we use him and he sees what we don't see anymore because we've gotten so immune to it. So so also at the dinner table, when the father and the family goes and they go to eat, we have these two antagonists outplayed and portrayed and gone against each other, where we see two different extremes of each society. So we could almost say the cons about the two. The children, the boys, the westernized boys, they always look at their phones, they like playing Xboxes, and where there's a lot of violence and blood and guns and people dying. And so we see the other children in the scene, and they're like really scared because they've never seen Xboxes or never played Xboxes probably, and well, they haven't, and they haven't seen all this mass murder in any kind, in any way. And also we see our protagonists' children and how they do not know what Adidas is, and they think that Nike is the god, which he is, but they don't know that it's a brand. So to them, he's only the god. It's not also a brand. Yeah, so these two antagonists really go against each other and show the message of the movie, and that Matt Ross wants to criticize society and uses the family to do this. And also at the end of the movie, we see that they find a middle ground. They live in this little house and still have still do the things they like. They still like to read and they still like to get knowledge, and but it's a more balanced way of life, so it's not extreme. They don't sit by the table with the phones and can't participate in conversations with the people. And then we see but they still live in a westernized society, and they go to school, and the school bus is picking them up so they can be, because they don't learn how to be social out in their I'm always going to say natural habitat, but what they were born into. So in that way, we get like this balance, and that's probably what Matt Ross wants to do as well. He wants to show that we have to not be too extreme and find some kind of middle ground. Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of independence in this movie, and which Ross wants us to think about and find this balance.